Hey, good morning. Today we're going to continue to talk about elapsed time. So please have your things in front of you. Make sure you have your packet open. And today's date is March 21st. May 21st. It is Thursday. So please open your packet to today's lesson. Okay, so you should see your first problem, and it is an I do, and it reads, Jill went to the movies at 1:30 and left the theater 3 hours and 45 minutes later. What time did she leave the movie? Okay, the first thing we need to do is that we need to underline our big question. So our job here is to figure out what time did Jill leave the movie. Now we're going to look back in our problem and figure out what's given that's going to help us to answer this big question. Okay, I know she went to the movies at 1:30, so I'm going to circle that. I also know that she left the theater 3 hours, 45 minutes later. Okay, so again, we're doing elapsed time. We know we have a start time. Our job is to figure out what time did it end after the movie. So what time did she leave the movie? So that's our job. We know she went to the movies and it started at 1:30. So we're going to draw our number line, our timeline, and our start time is 1:30. Okay. Now, I know that I'm taking 1:30, the time 1:30, and to it, I'm actually going to add 3 hours and I'm going to add an additional 45 minutes. Okay, so go ahead and write your equation at the top. So you're going to take the 1:30 and we're going to add 3 hours, 45 minutes. So again, the 3 hours, 45 minutes will be our elapsed time, okay? Our job is to figure out what's going to go right here at the end. That's our job, okay? All right, so I know that she left at 1:30 and I'm sorry that she got there at 1:30 and she left 3 hours later. So I'm going to take one jump, okay? And I'm going to label that 1 hour. Make this easy on myself. So 1 hour later would make that 2:30. So from 1:30, 1 hour later would be 2:30. Okay, so that's our first jump. Okay, so that's 1 hour. So you label yours just as I have mine labeled. And I'll put HR, that stands for hour. Okay, so from 1:30 to 2:30 is 1 hour. Then we'll take another jump. So we'll take another hour. So 2:30, 1 hour later, we make that 3:30. So that's another plus 1 hour. Let's move this up. All right, so I'm going to put plus 1 hour here. Okay, so that's 2 of the hours. And remember, it's 3 hours, so we're going to take another jump. We're now at 3:30. Take another jump. So go one more hour, and that puts us at 4:30. So that takes care of our 3 hours. So I'm going to label my last jump 1 hour plus the 1 hour. Okay. So I'm going to put plus 1 hour here. So that's 1 hour here. And then I have a second hour here. And there's my third hour. So that takes care of my 3 hours right there. So that's my 3 hours. All of this right here is my 3 hours. I'm going to put 3 hours up here. Okay. Now there's an additional 45 minutes right here that we need to add. Got this 45 right here. So I know in third grade, you were taught to just jump in increments. It didn't really matter what the increments were, just as long as they totaled up to what it needed to be. So we could take 45 and we can do different jumps in a lot of different times as we wanted to. We could do 20 plus 5. We could do 30 plus 15. We could do 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5. So there are a lot of different ways I can do 45. But because I've had some time in the third grade, I think I'm able to take some bigger leaps than in increments of 5. We could do 45 in an increment. We could do 30 minutes here. And we go from 4:30, and 30 minutes later puts us at 5 o'clock. Okay, so we're going to put 5 o'clock here. Okay, so then that would be my plus 30. Okay, so that's 30 of my 45 minutes. So now 30 plus 15, I know gives me 45. So this time I'm going to take a leap of 15. So I'm at 5 o'clock. 15 minutes later makes it 5:15. So here I'm going to write 5:15. And that's my 15 minutes. Yeah, sure, again, I could have taken different increments, just as long as what I have in red adds up to 45. So you didn't necessarily have to do 30. You didn't have to do 15. You could have done 10, 10, 10, 10, and 5. So you decide. You could have done 20 and 20 and 5. But whatever you do has to add up to 15. So here, my 30 plus, I'm sorry, has to add up to 45. Here, my 30 plus my 15 equals my 45. So let's go back. It says, what time did she leave the movies? I know she got to the movies at 1:30. She left the theater 3 hours and 45 minutes later. So she got there at 1:30. 3 hours, here's 1 hour. That's 2:30. 2 hours makes it 3:30. 3 hours makes it 4:30. Now I have to deal with the 45 minutes. Then I go 30 minutes, 4:30 plus 30 minutes gives me 5 o'clock plus an additional 15 minutes because again, 30 plus 15 have to total to 45. So 5 o'clock plus the 15 minutes makes it 5:15. So my answer to this question is D, 5:15. Okay, I'll pause and let you catch up. If you need additional time, just pause your video. Okay, so the next question we have is a you do, and it reads, an airline has a flight from Fort Myers to Boston. It is scheduled to leave Fort Myers at 11:25 a.m. and arrive in Boston at 2:20. According to the schedule, how much time passes from 11:25 to 2:20? So here it gives you the start time and it gives you the end time. You have to figure out the elapsed time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to underline the big question. How much time passes from 11:25 to 2:20? Okay. So basically what we need is right here in our big question because we have our start time and our end time. Our job is to figure out what the elapsed time, the time is in the middle. So go ahead and draw your number line. And at the beginning, we know 11:25 is when we started, so we're going to put 11:25 at the bottom. Okay. And we know that we're trying to get to 2:20, so put 2:20 at the end. Okay, I'll pause right there and let you catch up. Okay. All right, so we'll start with 11:25. How about we jump by the hour? Because we're at 11:25 and we're trying to get to, notice we're at 11 o'clock. And remember, we're trying to get to 2 o'clock. Okay, so we're going to start by the hour first. So we're going to jump 1 hour. Okay, and now put 1 hour at the top over your hump. Put a plus 1 hour. My technology just continues to work when it wants to. So 1 hour later than 11:25 gives us 12:25. You're exactly right. So that makes this 12:25. And remember, our goal is to get to 2:20. So now we're at 12 o'clock. We got to get to that 2 o'clock at least before we can go. All right, so now jump another hour. So that's 1 hour. So put a plus 1 hour at the top where you just jumped. All right, so 12:25 plus 1 more hour. We know it wouldn't be 13:25 because remember it's 1 through 12. So the next time would be 1:25 because we jumped 1 whole hour. So we went from 12:25. 1 hour later made it 1:25. Okay. All right, again, we're trying to get to 2:20. Okay. Now notice if I jump another hour, that's going to be 2:25. But remember, I only need to jump to 2:20, 20 minutes after 2 is where I need to be. So now instead of jumping in hours, we need to jump into some smaller increments. Okay. So now we're going to go, let's try a 30-minute increment. Well, let's try a 5-minute increment because that'll make us right at 1:30. So let's jump 5 minutes. Okay, put plus 5 minutes. And then that makes us at 1:30. And that should be 1:30. This should be plus 5. All right, so this should be plus 5 minutes. All right, so now make sure you put 5 minutes. Okay. All right, now, so that's our first minute, 5 minutes. So now we're at 1:30. Again, we're trying to get to 2:20. So let's do a 30-minute increment this time because I know 1:30 plus 30 minutes gives me an hour on the clock. Okay, so now let's do 30 minutes. So put plus 30 at the top and make sure you put minutes behind it. Okay, so this is 30. And then it should be minutes. And I'm going to put an M for minutes. Okay. So now from 1:30, 30 minutes later, make us at 2 o'clock. You're exactly right. So now we're at 2 o'clock, 30 minutes later. And again, we're trying to get to 2:20. So we're at 2 o'clock, and we know 20 minutes past 2 means exactly 20 minutes. So now we're going to jump 20 minutes. And pretend my lines are straight. So that's going to be plus 20. And then make sure you put minutes. Okay, and I'll pause and let you catch up. All right, so everything in blue is my minutes. So that makes us at 2:20. Is where we were trying to get to. All right, so let's recap where we were. We started at 11:25. We jumped 1 hour. That took us to 12:25. We jumped a second hour. That took us to 1:25. Again, our goal was to get to 2:20. We're at 1:25, so we know we can't jump another hour because that would make it 2:25 and we only need 2:20. So now we start to deal with the minutes. So we decided to go 5 minutes to make it 1:30, something very simple that we can calculate. 1:25, 5 minutes later, makes it at 1:30. So now we're at 1:30. We jumped 30 more minutes, and that took us to 2 o'clock. So again, we're still trying to get to 2:20. We jumped 20 minutes, and that gave us 2:20. Now, our job is to take everything that's at the top in red and blue and to add it up so that we can get our answer choice. So when I look at my hours, I have 1 hour here and 1 hour here, which gives me a total of 2 hours. Then I have 30 minutes 20 minutes, and 5. So if I add that up, 30 plus 20 plus 5, I get 55. And I know you could do this in your head. You probably didn't even need to add this up over here. Just do it in your head because you're just that smart. So 0 and 5 gives me the 5. And 2 plus 3 gives me 5. So there's my 2 hours and 55 minutes. So my answer choice would be C. So I'll pause right there and let you catch up. If you need additional time, just pause your computer, okay? All right, let's go to your next question. The next question is a we do. It says the following sign is displayed in the window, in the store window. And the sign reads, closed, we'll be back at, what time is this? We'll be back at, let's see, here's 12, right here. This would be 12. And beside 12, this would be 1. And then beside 1 would be 2. And this would be 3. Okay? So I noticed that this is my shorthand, which means it is the hour hand. And I noticed that my hour hand is in between 2 and 3. So therefore, it tells me that when it's in between, I always go for the smallest number. It's still 2 o'clock. It's past 2, but it's not yet 3 o'clock. So my hour here is going to be 2. Okay? Now I must figure out what my minutes are going to be here. So I know this is 3 at that tick. Let's go to the next tick. I know this is 4. And beside 4 is 5. And right down at the very bottom is 6. What I remember, I know that each number counts for 5. So in between 12 and 1, there's some little ticks, and each one stands for a minute. So if I jump from 12 to 1, that's 5. Continue. 5 more would be 10. Continue. 5 more would be 15. Continue. 5 more would be 20. 5 more would be 25. And then we're now at 6 at 30. So then that tells me that the time is 2:30. Okay. So it says we will be back at 2:30. You're exactly right. All right. So now let's look at the rest of our problem. It says it is now 12:45. How long until the store opens? Okay. So it's 12:45. And how long till the store opens is what my job is. So let's underline that. And we're going to circle 12:45. And our other bit of information is the 2:30. There's a reason why we have to figure that out. Okay? So now, share. Okay. So now here we are. We know that the store will open again at 2:30. We know it is now 12:45. So 12:45 represents what on our number line? You're exactly right. 12:45 represents our start. This is our start. Well, 2:30 on our number line, what does it represent? You're exactly right. It represents our end time. So we're going to start at 12:45 and we're going to end at 2:30. Okay. I'll pause and let you set yours up. All right, so at the beginning of your number line, let's write 1245. I know we're going to end at 2:30, so let's put that at the end. Okay, so this problem is a lot like the last one that we just did. So our job is to figure out what the elapsed time, that's going to be the time in here. So we're looking for the elapsed time. So now 12:45 is 12 is our hour of 12:45. 2 is our hour over here. We're trying to get from 12 until 2 o'clock. Okay, so we're going to begin by jumping one whole hour. So let's jump 1 hour. Put plus 1 hour above your jump. Okay, so we've gone from 12:45, 1 hour later, makes it, you're exactly right, it makes it 1:45. So again, we're trying to get to 2:30. So now if we jump one more time, then that take us to 2:45, and we only have 2:30. So let's break it down into some increments that we know. So we're at 2:45, which means the minute hand would be here. And I know that that's 5, 10, 15 minutes away from the next hour. But I think I'm going to do it in an increment of 15. Now, you can do it in increments of anything that you want to. It does not have to be just 5. You can do 5s and keep jumping until you get to 2:30. You can do 5, 10 combination, whatever. So I'm going to try 15 because 15 will put me right on 2 o'clock. So I am going to draw my next jump. All right, and then at the top, I'm going to put plus 15 and make sure you put minutes. I don't want you to get confused. So now we're getting minutes. So 15 minutes later of 2:45 gives me 2 o'clock. So now it's now we're at 2 o'clock and again, we're trying to get to 2:30. So we can take one giant leap of 30 minutes and we'll get to 2:30. Let's do 30 minutes. The first 30 at the top. And we're now at 2:30, so we go from 2 o'clock, 30 minutes later, puts us at 2:30. And that's our goal, that's where we're trying to be. But again, you could have broken this 30 minutes up, you didn't have to do 15 to 30, you could have done any combination to get you to 2:30. But because we had time last year, and I know you know that 1:45, 15 minutes later, put you 1 hour at 2 o'clock, and 30 minutes later, put you at 2:30. So now we have 1 hour here, we have 15 minutes here, and we have 30 minutes here. We have to add this up to figure out our time, how much elapsed time. So our job was to figure out the elapsed time, okay? How much time elapsed, how much time we got. All right, so we know we have 1 hour, so we'll just put 1 hour. There's nothing to add to that. Then we take the 15 minutes and the 30 minutes and add it together. So I'll pause and let you do that. All right, so you know 15 plus 30 gives you a total of 45. All right, and it's 45 represents minutes. So my answer ends up being 1 hour, 45 minutes. All right, so my answer ends up being C. Right? I'll pause and let you get it. Again, I do apologize. My technology, my pencil, my stylus is not working properly. What's going on with it? It does not want to work at all. All right, so if you need additional time, you can pause your video. Your last time. And so anytime you're trying to get from one point of time to the next number of time, then that will be your last time. Okay? All right, so let's go to the next problem. Rob started working on his homework at 4:30 and finished 1.5 hours late. What time did he finish his homework? Okay. All right, go ahead and cue your problem. All right, hopefully for your big question, underline what time did he finish his homework? Hopefully you circle 4:30 and 1.5 hours later. Okay. Now, what is 4:30 when I underline? Is it your start time or your end time? Exactly right. 4:30 would be your start. So go ahead and put your start. And go ahead and draw your All right, remember it's 1 hour and half of an hour. We know is what half of 60. Okay, 60 minutes in 1 hour. So half of 60 would be one. Exactly right. Half of 60 would be 30 minutes. So remember our last time is 1 hour, 30 minutes. Okay, that we know. We're trying to figure out what our end time is. Okay, so let's deal with that now. It is 4:30. So if we jump 1 hour, what time would it be? We jump 1 hour. Which plus 1 hour is time. Okay, so plus 1 hour, we're exactly right. Would be 5:30. So 4:30 an hour later, we get 5:30. Okay. So that takes care of an hour. We just finished off. Now we have to deal with 30 minutes. So 30 minutes later, 5:30, which is over. Now we know this is 30 minutes later, 5:30, we make it what? Make sure you put your plus 30 minutes. Make sure you wait minutes. Just make it minutes. Okay, so 30 minutes, you're exactly right. We make it exactly 6 o'clock. All right, so let's go back. What time did he finish his work? He started at 4:30. It's not 4:30. He finished 1.5 hours late. So 1.5 hours later than 4:30, I jumped to 1 hour, 5:30. That's a hour. Then I know half of an hour, 60 minutes in 1 hour. So half an hour would be 30 minutes. So 1 hour, 30 minutes. So 5:30 plus 30 minutes, it means 6 o'clock. So my answer is C, 6 o'clock. Exactly right. Good job. All right, so now let's go to the next problem. And it is a you do. Before you go, you can take a moment to write down what I have. If you don't have it. And it reads here, to display the following flight information. Flight information, flight number 212. This flight departs at 12:30 and arrives at 2 o'clock. Based on the schedule, how long is the flight? Do we have a start time? It departs. That tells me when it leaves. So that would be your start time. You're right. And it arrives when it lands. That would be your end time. Okay? And I'll let you take from there. Draw your number line and you figure out how long it flight is. And once you get your answer in. Good. All right, please when you go to the Kahoot, make sure you put your first and last name and only your problem. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow for your recording. So you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.